If you bet on sports, then you know that the line moves. The line is the most important thing to pay attention to in sports betting, besides the actual game itself. In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of the closing line. This is one of the most important topics in sports betting, because how you do against the closing line can tell you much more than profit alone. Even bookmakers use closing lines to identify sharp bettors. So, what is it? Is it different from the opening line? Why you should pay attention to closing lines and much more. We're going to cover all of this and more in this video. These sports betting lessons are presented by MB, a founder of UnderdogChance.com. Before we start, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video, and don't forget to sign up for a free sports betting course from the link in the description below. Let's get started. What is the closing line? A betting line is a market price that we pay at some point, whether you bet early or just before the game starts. But the closing line is the final price that is set before a game starts. When you bet on a game, the market for it will open at some point. Many times days or even weeks before. This is the opening stage. In the second stage, different people are going to place wagers and the prices will start moving. Just before the game starts, the market will close, and this is the third or the final stage. Also called a closing line. So, what is so special about the closing line? Financial markets and betting on sports have a lot in common. Making the line at betting as well as underwriting stock listings is basically just pricing exercises where you need to assign values for an event influenced by uncertain factors that can be either events such as game results or information from reported earnings reports. The efficient market hypothesis states that all public markets at any given time incorporate all available information into their asset prices. Furthermore, those asset prices move only as a reaction to new information. Consequently, it is not possible to beat the market unless you are investing in riskier assets. What has this to do with sports betting? Well, it's simple. The last line that was up before the event started is a summary of everything known to this point. The closing line is a representation of what the market believes to be true odds and thus probability for all possible game outcomes. Therefore, it's also the most efficient one, which is in theory hard or even impossible to beat. In other words, the closing line is the price you don't want to bet on, because it is the most efficient one. What is the closing line value? Closing line value, or CLV, is a term used in sports betting to describe the advantage or disadvantage that comes from betting on a line that moves. For example, if you bet a team is a -3 favorite and then check the line before kickoff, it might be at -5.5. You got a positive closing line value. If you see them close at -1.5, you get beat by the closing line and you probably made a bet with negative expected value. All of this assumes the price was -110 on these bets, or -105 if you have access to a generous bookmaker. The same with the moneyline bets. If you bet a team as a -120 favorite and then check the line before kickoff, it might be at -150. You got a positive closing line value. And you get beat by it if the line would be -105, for example. If you beat the closing line, you outsmart the market. Even the bookmakers openly say that this is the most important factor when they try to identify sharp bettors. Trading director from Pinnacle, which is one of the most respected bookmakers in the world, said on many occasions that the closing line is on average very accurate, that sharp bettors are beating it. How to use the closing line in your favor? A big question many sports bettors ask themselves is whether their success is a skill or just pure luck. By tracking your ability to beat the closing odds, you have a measurable way in which you can differentiate between skill and luck. Professional bettors and the biggest bookmakers say that this is an even more important indicator of your skill than just a profit or ROI. All serious bettors track or talk about closing line value, and bookmakers pay lots of attention to it. And you should pay attention too. Will you win every single bet if you beat the line? Beating the closing line is not a guarantee that you will win every single bet, but it's a good indication if your betting strategy was sound. It is a great indicator if you have the advantage against the market and if you bet on good prices. How to beat the closing line? Place bets early to get better odds. Analyze bets and use sports betting models to get your own lines even before bookmakers open their lines. Use multiple sportsbooks and bet on the best possible lines on the market. What about soft markets? In some smaller leagues, less popular sports and low liquidity markets, the closing line value theory would be less true. There might not be enough volume or smart money involved and the line will move differently. But when it comes to the biggest markets, the closing line value is arguably the most important factor whether someone is a skilled bettor or not. Should you track closing line value and how? Definitely. You can use your closing line value to answer questions like, am I doing well enough? Or even more importantly, whether it's worth betting at all. To track closing lines, we at UnderdogChance.com have a free bet tracking spreadsheet, where you can properly track your bets against the closing line. Find the link in the description below. The closing odds are an excellent way to measure the accuracy of your betting strategy. It's not just about winning or losing, but about consistently making money from your bets. Closing line value is arguably the most important factor in sports betting. If you want to make money, you need to track it. Closing line value is important for any serious sports bettor. No matter if you're betting on smaller markets or big markets, tracking closing line value should be part of your repertoire. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to sign up for a free betting course for more valuable betting lessons. Link in the description below.